Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at the spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. April Mahoney Brains, you're back at the spot, the place, hey, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today we have, all the way from Australia, Elena Chovancak. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. Wonderful.
Look at that. That's it. She's originally from Russia. I absolutely love it. That's the place that's on my life list. I'm going to go. I want to go to St. Petersburg. I'm going to ask her all about that. We're going to talk about the work that she does, the Grow, Embody, and Thrive. She's working with women to really come inside themselves, to do a deep dive. She's a yoga teacher. She is a mother. She's just a wonderful person. And she's showed me a lot of love and grace in this time of flux that I'm in right now. So we're going to talk to her about that and the shamanic coaching program. What is that? And why is shamanic practices so prevalent now? It used to didn't be that way. You didn't hear about it or people didn't talk about it. So we're going to ask her to educate us on that. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Elena?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me. And, I just want to acknowledge once again that the amount of kindness and compassion you're holding towards everyone else just shows, especially in this time in this particular time for you. So I just really want to acknowledge the light that you're bringing to the world, like with your podcast and with our conversations. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I really do. You know, I used to think that when you ask someone to hold space, that was just something fictitious, but I feel it. I literally feel like my space has expanded. So how are you expanding space for people in the world? Tell me a little bit about you.
How I expand my space. Thank you so much for asking that question. And I guess this is where my biggest secret lies, I guess. So the secret behind what I do, how I live, and my somatic. So it's not quite shamanic; it's somatic, but that's okay. Now,
okay, it's somatic.
Somatic. So soma means in the body. So it's essentially meaning for
so
us.
It's not the Indian. I mean the Native American religious. Oh, okay. Correct me on that, Brains. Okay, we got it right.
That's okay. That's okay. That is, I think it's all related in a way. But essentially, somatic, soma in Sanskrit means in body. So it's mostly just to draw attention. Sometimes I find it like it's a bit of attention catching, because people say, well, what is somatic? Because in reality, I do think the whole life experience is meant to be somatic. We are meant to, feel in the body. We are being given our body to live our life in, but how often are we in our head? Very often. So this is just a bit of a grounding that this word instantly brings. And one of the biggest muscles behind my program and in my life overall, the biggest secret that I've discovered, which also answers your question, is compassion. To be able to hold space or open up space for someone else and for ourselves. Compassion is everything. And I treat it like a muscle. It's invisible, but it can only get stronger with practice, and we all have it. And the ability of just slowly building it, quite often it gets tested in situations like, sadly right now you're going through.
Right.
This is when we see how much space are we able to hold for ourselves, and also to remind us that it's okay to reach out. It's okay to reach out for someone who can give us that space without judgment. So the way I look at myself in my work, and to be honest, being a coach, I feel like it makes me a better human. It makes me a better mom, better partner, better friend, because essentially it helps me to hold the space without judgment. Listen and trying to understand what the person is going through. And I know in the past maybe I would jump into some conclusions, but now more and more living the way I live, working the way I work, helps me to find that space to say, I wonder why they think that. I wonder why they did that. And that's all we need sometimes, that pause to just see the person through, give them that space, and also look after our own space. As a coach and also as a mom, as a yoga teacher, I look after my energy very well because I want to have that space fully for yourself. So when I'm saying, when I'm with you, I'm here for you. My own agenda is behind me. And same with anybody that I try to work with, deal with in life.
Why,
That's the biggest gift.
why did you decide to be a coach? That's a lot of responsibility on your part, as well as the individual that you're coaching, because coaching is more than anything, it's trust. And
Yes.
again, you are opening yourself up uh, to allow someone else's trauma, pain, sorrow, confusion come into your space. You're going to cradle that. You're going to nurture it and then pour it back into them. So it takes a lot, and you're going to have to ground yourself. I guess that's where the yoga comes in. But how did you find yourself wanting to be a coach?
That's a very good question. Thank you. Thank you for asking it. I, in some ways, I feel like I've always wanted to be a coach, but I never realized it. And then it all crystallized maybe just about a year ago. So the life took me on that journey because ever since I was a kid, I often found myself in a situation where I enjoyed talking to people and people say to me, oh, you made me feel better. And there was that feeling in me that I want to work with people. And because I was growing up at the times when we were, the Cold War, the Iron Curtain was lifting up, I was so curious to find out about people. So I went naturally into languages and international business and kind of trying to support people and learn about them that way. And through the whole, I guess, mindfulness journey as well, now that I realize I have all these tools now that I can put together and support people in the best possible way, which is to get them to connect to themselves, to realize that if I were to, I guess, describe in a couple of words what I want for my clients or for people I talk to, is to see that just in a couple of instances, it is possible to make a decision to feel differently. It
Mm,
is possible to have all the same circumstances. Nothing changes in the external world, but you can change how you feel about it. And it takes a lot of effort. Initially it feels like it's too much. But as we start to build that self-compassion, self-trust, self-belief, things become more and more at ease. One of my clients that I have been working with in the past couple of months is doing a beautiful job. And the way she put it is just this week when I was having a session with her, she just said, look, I just find it now natural. I find it natural. Nothing seems to be changing. I'm still
right.
going through the whole world of stresses being a mom and juggling even more than she used to have on her plate. But she said, but I'm just picking and choosing how I feel. I notice how I feel. Then I know I have that capacity. And this is what it's for me about. It's for me to help others to recognize that they have that ability within them. Maybe initially they need somebody to support them, to remind them that it's there, to borrow, say, my belief, my trust, my compassion.
Right.
But essentially, I want them to be like, I sometimes say it in a way that imagine that somebody is teaching you how to ride a bike. I am the person who is walking beside you. I'm not the bike,
You're
and
the
I'm not going to
training
take the
wheels. You're
bike.
going to be the training wheels. How
Or
about
you
that?
can say training wheels, but I said I'm not taking the bike away. You are the person on the bike.
Right, right.
It's
And you
about that
gotta you gotta
empowerment.
get up, you gotta move through it. And you have done that. And what I think is another beautiful thing about you is that you speak 7 languages. So to not just speak a language, but when you immerse yourself in a language, you immerse yourself in a culture
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
because you have to understand the dialect, you have to understand the slang, you have to speak with formally. And so you have really taken the time to not just pull back the curtain, but
Mm.
you are now opening the window for so many other people. What was it like? Do you remember growing up in a very strict environment? Because I'll tell people, I have been to communist countries, and I've never been to Russia. I had a choice. I could go to the left and go to Russia, go to the right and go to China. I chose to go to China, but it was law and order. There
Mm.
wasn't a lot of this stuff that you see going on here now. You kept your, now in America, our tongues are like whips. We just say
Mm.
whatever you want to say. You don't have any feelings or remorse. You double down on the negativity. What was it like being in a structured environment and then moving to Australia, a place that was the total polar opposite?
Mm.
So you have been able to immerse yourself in so many different cultures by speaking 7 languages. You've been able to really not just pull back the drape, but open the window. Um, what was that like growing up in a place that was very restrictive? Because brains, like I said, I've been to communist countries and it's law and order. I didn't have any problem. I went to China. I absolutely loved it. You know, they look at you a little strange, but people are more reserved. They seem to be more respectful. I don't know if that's fear. I don't know if that's discipline. What is that like moving from a place like Russia to Australia, which is a completely polar opposite than what you were used to?
Thank you so much for asking that. I think reflecting back, the element of the culture within my family was that there was a lot of open-mindedness, and my parents did encourage me to explore different things. In a way, one of the reasons I probably started to learn English so early on is because I did feel it in my mind that the languages will be the way out in a way that it's going to help me to open up the doors. And it was instinctive in some ways because I was learning languages to understand. I did enjoy, say, going to places and not as a tourist. To be honest, I hardly the amount of places I visited as a tourist is very limited because I either had opportunities to do some work or because my dad's job changed at the same time and he started working in exports. So he became also exposed to all these different countries. So I could see that part of it. And then I had experiences to go and do some work experiences. So I would say work, not be a tourist, but see the back end guys, of the culture and everything. And I always really appreciate it because it just opens up so many. It just opens up, as you said, doors and windows because you see there are so many different ways to look at the situation. And I think this is what helps me as a coach as well, or even anywhere I go, because overall I'm straight away more open-minded. I shared with you that I have a pen friend in US since we were 11, and we just recently had a good chat about it. And we both of us recognized that our friendship has helped us to open up our minds so much because we could see beyond what was written in the newspapers, beyond what the culture was telling us, especially at that time. Yes, things were opening up, but there was still a bit of closed off mindedness there. So it was, so from that perspective, I think when I moved to Australia and I lived in Iceland for a year, I was prepared to the openness and I've always been more kind of receiving, like, okay, let's see, let's figure out what's happening. Like I would always if I come into the room anywhere, I would first try to see the energy there and explore it from the curiosity part of it.
Right.
So from that perspective, I guess I felt free. I think when you learn to feel free inside, you can be anywhere and you don't feel restricted. And
Exactly.
maybe one of the reasons, yeah. So from that perspective, I've always enjoyed learning new things
Right.
and moving with it. And in a way, I guess that was my survivalist instinct as well. I think I mentioned to you before that when I was a young kid, and I only start to appreciate it now, I stayed in hospitals for weeks and months at a time, quite a lot. But
No,
what
you
does
didn't
it
tell
do?
me that. No.
Oh, yes. So I figured I just recently understood how much that shaped me because I've always been praised for being very independent since very early age. I was this kind of little contributor in the family and good girl, everything. But I started to recognize later on, because when you're age 4, 5, 6 years old and you are in a hospital, big place with, okay, even if it's children's hospital, there would be a room, 6 to 8 kids, and quite often I was the youngest. You have to, figure it out. You have to
Right.
figure it out. So it developed a lot of my, I guess, speaking abilities because, I'm able to turn things into joke very quickly. But and I've always recognized it as a skill. What I just recently, maybe in the last couple of years, recognized also that it did imprint in me that it's more about, okay, I need to be, in order for me to get comfortable, I need to really assess the situation and see
Right.
what's going on.
Right.
So it came through from that, and you recognize that there are a lot of things out of your control, but
And
there is a beauty in it
adversity,
as well.
I always say the things that don't kill you make you stronger. Is
Absolutely.
that a reason why you started doing yoga and you doing yoga with children?
This came a bit late. Doing yoga was quite initially the journey with yoga was my own because also I had limitations in movement as a kid. I was this dangly teenager who was not allowed to exercise really. So initially I was doing yoga for myself. And then later on, as I was actually, I always thought about doing something with kids, but then life would take me away and, you're busy with work and everything. During COVID, I really felt the pull to do it because I could see how much my practices with my kids were helping them. And that became a seed. And then eventually, kids yoga was the reason that I left corporate because that made me, because it was so different. And I realized that the energy in kids yoga, it's so different to what I was doing. I was this, even though I loved my old corporate job, but I could feel my creative side was almost non-existent. And if I look at it from feminine, masculine energies, nothing wrong with either. But I was fully masculine. It was all about that force, fight, push.
Right, right.
There was none of the softness. And I think I was being called to go towards exploring the other side. And that's exactly what I did. And the beauty of working with children, I have I have definitely found myself in a lot of things. I reconnected to my own inner child, and I can start to look at it. And in a way, the way I even work with my coaching clients, it's like working with these inner children because we all have them inside. We all
Absolutely.
carry that. So I needed to connect to my own first to be able to fully understand and be compassionate and open-minded
Right.
towards the others. Yeah.
They're doing a lot of that here in the United States. They're teaching children, and I love this. Again, in China, they teach them compassion, humanity, love before they teach them their ABCs and one, two, threes.
Yeah.
They teach them how to be a decent human being and how to ground themselves, and that is so important. A lot of people, when they say, "Oh, I don't do yoga because I can't do the poses," well, before I figured it out that it's not about the pose, it's about the breath, it's about connecting with spirit. And once you do that, the body becomes pliable. It'll do almost anything that you want it to do. But the mind and the breath and connecting with that and the voice inflection. And by the way, you got a nice set of arms there, girl.
Thank you.
But
Yeah, that's the perks of the yoga teaching. Yes, you do get, yeah, that's the perks of it. You do get a healthy
yeah,
body,
oh yeah, you get
Why
it.
not? Why not? I always say that way.
But it's something about a yoga teacher. My yoga teacher, I go once a week, and I try to do it from the television here. There's a television program that comes on at 5 in the morning, but it's nothing like being in the room.
Hmm.
Oh, and don't let her burn some non-chapa or play the right kind of music. You can do a lot of things. Have you been to a laughing yoga class?
Well, I would say if you ever come to my yoga class, it's a laughing yoga class because I
I did
always, but
laughing
yeah,
yoga, and I tell you, my abdomen was sore. I didn't think I
yeah,
could sit there and laugh for almost an hour at almost absolutely nothing. But then
yeah.
when I thought about it, my face, muscles, everything, every part of the body moved with that. So when your clients work with you, what do they have to look forward to?
With my clients work with me in coaching, they look forward to, I guess, having that safe space to explore. Because sometimes I look at it as in uh, come with your puzzle box, with sometimes because all of the things that we have, all the questions, all the things when we are stuck, overwhelmed, essentially the answers are within. So you bring it as a puzzle, but the puzzle is no good in a box. You need to put it out to make a picture, and having that safe space to explore, because quite often, and I work with language quite a lot in my session, even having the ability to say things out loud and hear what you say, because a lot of the time the clients have, and they have that understanding because they hear themselves saying it. Gentle questions. have a bit of a lightness in them, because I do bring humor into my session, whether it's yoga, whether it's coaching, because life is meant to be enjoyed. And I try to bring all of that, curiosity, playfulness. We practice all of that in my session. So most of the time people have that tired face afterwards because of the smiling. And
What do you consider your superpower outside of all of the compassion that you show, the mindset mastery, the coaching? Well, what else is what are your superpowers? Is it
what is
your
my
ability to
superpower?
smile and make people happy? What is it?
I think that's pretty good list. But I think my superpower is to read the room. I think I'm really good at seeing where the people are, and if I'm not, but without assumption. I just sensing it and then allowing people to elaborate and just being there for them and give unconditional love and respect.
Right.
And in saying that, I guess I can say it this way. I guess my superpower is my unconditional love and respect for myself. It might sound strange, but
No.
this is exactly why. And I'm not gonna say I was born with it. Far from it. I had to rediscover, because everything that I teach, I know it from, like, even say in yoga classes. Why am I so good with all of the adjustments
Right.
and modifications? It's because I have scoliosis. It's because I have gone through injuries and all sorts of things. I know how to make things accessible. I know how important it is to feel good in the body.
Right.
And same thing when it comes to self-love and compassion. I didn't come from that space. I I did bring myself towards it, and can absolutely say, life is so much better. And this is why I can give unconditional love, trust, compassion to everyone that I work with or speak to, because I personally believe that in order to genuinely give, and for women it's such a big thing because we overgive so much, and I've been there as well. We quite often we start to forget about ourselves, and even though it feels like we are doing things for other people, but we are not doing it from the place of authenticity because we are not looking after ourselves, and that's not sustainable. It's like trying to be, and I remember one client came up with that analogy because she said, I just want to be a torch for everyone else. And I said, but if you don't have any batteries, what are you going to do? Like, if
Right.
your battery is flat, you can't shine anything.
Right.
So it is coming back to that. If I want to be genuinely and sustainably present, compassionate, supportive of others,
Mhm.
I have to start with me. And
Absolutely.
it's not selfish. It's just physics. It's
Right.
maths. You
Absolutely.
can't
And when
you
I work with a
can't
coach or when I
trick.
work
Yeah.
with someone, I want to see their their gifts, their superpower, or what I need exuding from their pores. I want to grab that energy. I want to hold on to it. I don't want to have to coach the coach. You
No,
know,
no, and I'm not definitely. I know there are some coaches who coach. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm here to help you, to support you, to connect with these things through the body. That's why the body is so important, because body is a gift that has been given to us to live the life, to experience the life, to ground into, and also to understand that if we can feel things in the body, we have connection towards it, and that becomes a superpower. That's a superpower I want everybody to have, because if I can connect to myself, what does trust mean for me? What does self-love mean to me? How does it feel to be thriving in my life? Nobody can take it away from you. Who
right.
can take it away from you? No one.
No.
And if you feel so confident in yourself, I always bring that an example. Imagine, like, what self-truth feels like. The real trust in yourself means that you know your truth. The opinions of other people, it's not because people are not important. They're important, but their opinions have nothing to do with you, because you know your truth. And no one can take it away from you. And you can just carry that light anywhere you go.
Mhm.
Sometimes it gets dimmed, and that's why there is a growth component in my program, because it is about recognizing that we start with thriving as a baseline. We want to thrive because we're born to thrive. We're going to build ourselves up. And then the growth happens naturally, whether it's us who want to grow, or you're going to get, life is very good
Right.
at checking in and saying, hey, how they say, oh, you think you're so zen, spend some time with your family or something like that.
Oh, exactly.
Reality
Exactly.
check.
As they say here, life is lifing. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So
So
let me
you get a
ask you some
lot of
fun questions.
opportunity.
So I want to ask you
So,
some fun questions before we conclude the interview, because this is my favorite part of the interview. If you were a flower in the garden, Elena, what flower would you be?
the thing that comes up to mind straight away is a peony because my grandmother used to grow peonies in her garden, and she had really very rare colored ones, like white with some speckles of purple.
I
And
love it.
actually, one of my, if probably my first job ever was to sell flowers. It was mostly not even to make money, but because my grandparents said, "Well, you want to make some money, go and sell peonies." And I remember that was a really tough experience because there was such a big competition because there were lots of other older ladies who had they
Mhm.
had their generic colors, and then I show up, 80-year old with
Exotic
my
colors.
white.
Exactly. Exactly. I know,
Yes,
and it
I
makes a
was.
difference. It makes a difference. And your
Yeah.
personality and your charm, and that's what people bought because everything is a sales job, you know. And if it's selling flowers, if it's selling your heart, if it's selling your soul, if it's selling yoga, if it's selling coaching, all of this is a sales component of you're selling to value. So I totally get it. If you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
I am really not into cars, but I'll try to. Okay, what kind of a car would be? S- Even though I've never driven a convertible. So right now I feel like a convertible because I do have a little bit of that.
Want to take
Why
the
not?
top down?
Yeah, exactly. I can feel it. Like I would want to be a convertible that's just driving, not because they want to take someone for the ride, the driver, but just to enjoy themselves. They want to feel the breeze and.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you were a appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Okay, I'm going with my intuition and it just came up for me. I want to be a mixer. I don't know, just
Good.
create something new, blend all the different things.
Absolutely, absolutely. I chose to be the air fryer because it's fresh, it's new, it's crispy, a little bit of oil, it's trendy,
Okay,
looks nice on the
nice.
counter. I want to be an air fryer. I'll
Okay,
do that.
all right, good, good.
If you could time travel, if you could go back to the past, if you could stay here in the present, project to the future, where do you see yourself landing?
Do I have to time travel or can I just be in the now? Like, is that is
Yeah,
that a tricky question?
that's the present. That's the now. You don't have to.
I think to be very, and it might sound a little bit woo-woo. I feel like when we are so connected to ourselves and emotions, I've been feeling like I can travel easily to the past in the sense that because I am connected to the emotion, I can relive experiences very easily. And when it comes to future, I try not to, like I have some visions, but I'm not attached to the, yes, I'm very much a yoga teacher and a coach. Like, where I want to be, they ask a question. If you could go back in time, what would you change? I don't want to change anything because that's exactly my experience here. This is why I'm here. I'm here to live through everything, and even things like, of course, we all go through losses, and for a while, I always felt like I wish I could go back in time and like spend more time with my dad. Like it's probably something that I would love to do. But then in saying that, I feel so connected
Right,
to
right.
him. Then it's yes, I think. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, yeah, absolutely. I
Mm,
mean, that's exactly how you feel but I'm a space cadet. I'm going, I'm going straight ahead. I don't want to
so-
relive the past. Your
yeah, no,
your
I
past,
think
your,
yes,
your, your past is indicative of your future. I understand the present. I really like the present right now because I want to see how we're going to work through all of these things that are changing.
yeah,
This is a critical time. This is going to be, if you're into numerology, this is 9. We're ending. I've seen so many things that have ended,
yeah,
and it's shocking. But then one is coming up, and that's a new beginning. So you want to open yourself up to possibilities. You want to work with someone like Elena that is, again, open to a conversation, that is flexible, that is disciplined, but also has compassion. Tell my brains a little bit how to get in contact with you if they want to work with you. And you have an online ebook too, right?
yes. I have a few ebooks, and right now, in particular, because it is Christmas time, I created something practical because when people work with me, I'm very practical. For me, it's about, well, how can I, actually put my knowledge together to make it practical for you so you can feel a change straight away. So I've put together a book called 12 Days of Thriving Christmas, or a guide towards your festive season with ease. So essentially, just some simple techniques, exercises, because we all go into the festive season with different things happening in our lives, so it's not just all rosy things, and it's busy, and maybe we're missing loved ones. So there is a little bit for everyone in there, but they're really simple things that they can help to instantly shift the mood, shift the day, including some tips for music.
Oh, well, and again, the music is the frequency. The music is the
Yes,
vibe.
absolutely.
It will, I know today, for some reason, I just turned on some classical music and I was just really in a different type of zone. It,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was
Absolutely.
absolutely beautiful. So, what is your website?
So my website is Off the Mat Living. This is my offthematliving.com.au.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook under my profile, Elena Chovancak. And for all the ladies listening, so I have my free community group on Facebook, which is called Grow and Body Thrive. So it's a safe space for women to join, where we start to look into those moments where we can pause, acknowledge ourselves, prioritize our self-care without guilt, because it all starts with those little steps of self-connection.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so this is the way to connect with me. So if I can also, I don't know if I'm able to leave some links otherwise, but yes, this is one of the best ways. So you can
Oh, yeah,
send me a message
absolutely.
on Facebook, pop up, find my group. You can jump into the group.
I'm
That'll
going to put
probably,
all of your information at the back of the interview. We're going to put it in the show notes and we're
yeah,
going to play this over and over again.
yeah.
This is not just for women. If you want to be in the room with her, absolutely. Australia is your place. If you want to be in the spiritual realm, in her head, in your mind, you can be in the virtual space. And that is the beauty of that. Because again, it's space, it's capacity, it's expanding. And that's what we want to do. Thank you so much, Elena, for
Thank
being
you.
on the show with me. Brains, go in, love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe here on The Edge. We want you to be the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. You know, well, we want some arms like hers. Bye, Brains. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.